Hey everybody, Blue Ridge Rider, welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the British Car Show, Autumn in the Mountains. Got over 200 cars here today, everything from McLarens to MGs, along with some British motorcycles, not to mention a few Italian and German cars. Hope you enjoy the video. Spitfire John, take it away.
It's modeled after the original Giovanni Michelotti designs, which were from '55. So he simplified the car with cut down windscreen, no bumpers. It's an original factory color, which is called cactus green.
Let's see the engine, man. Now this is sweet. Tell us what we got going on in here, man.
So the engine is original to the car. It's a small crank 1300 with a 1500 oversized valve head on it. So it's got a J-type overdrive transmission from a late Spitfire in it, and of course the larger HS4 carbs. It's got a hot cam, and I've milled the head down to give it 10-to-1 compression.
Got some spare spark plugs with us?
A little bit of spark plugs, extra fire extinguisher.
Awesome. So what have you done in the interior?
So the dash is modeled after the '64 race car. This is what they used at Le Mans when they first came out with the car. So it's got GT40 gauges, it's a GT6 gauge, and then it's a tattletale tack that'll tell me what my last high rev was. So bucket seats, no heater, no wipers. It's essentially a motorcycle with 4 wheels.
Very cool. So what's going on back here?
So we've got a small gel cell battery. Keep it nice and light. An original Triumph tire. Just everything that was too heavy I got rid of. So no crank windows, aluminum water pump housing, aluminum bell housing on the transmission. Just everything trying to make it as light and as fast as possible.
Hey, we really appreciate you showing us your car, man.
Thank you.
right, guys, I'm with my friend MF Autos. He's going to show us his McLaren. So tell us about this car, man.
So this is a 2012 MP4-12C. The fenders are not stock. They are all carbon fiber. I had everything painted over except for the louvers. That is something that is found on the GT4 race cars that I wanted to implement on this car. But otherwise, exterior appearance is all factory carbon. All the factory carbon out back, mirrors, diffuser, splitter, all that stuff was factory option. This one is tuned a lot. So on pump gas, I can get about 710, 720 horsepower. And if we move on to 100 octane, that number goes up to about 760, I think it is.
Nice.
I've got different air filters in this one. That what some people don't know, when you change the air filters out from the regular paper ones, you can make turbo sounds all the time. So you hear the intake, you hear the blow off, that kind of thing. Then the exhaust has a custom exhaust that I actually made. I did an entire video on my YouTube channel showing the science, everything behind the exhaust, fabrication, all that stuff.
Cool.
Just from the cat back. It is catless, which again also makes it so you hear turbos all the time. It's just constantly, if it's under 2,000 RPM.
Very cool. Walk us around this thing, man.
What's that?
Walk us around it.
Okay. Let's see. Factory super light wheels.
You got, what kind of brakes you got?
Those are the factory brakes. They're actually made by AP Racing. They do all the factory calipers for McLaren. These have Brembo rotors, which were factory on these. I do have wheel spacers, so it pokes them out a little bit more, makes the stance a little bit nicer. Generally, they're in there a little bit more, and I'm pretty sure it's to keep from having stones and stuff like that come out this way, so they bring them in. Same for the rear, but everybody likes this to look a little bit better. This thing has also got rolling anti-lag, and that's basically launch control, but while you're moving. So you're on the highway, bring up to 6,000 RPM, hit the cruise stock. It goes to like a two-step kind of thing, holds RPM, you let off of it, and you just take off. So it's literally launch control while moving already.
Nice, nice.
So that's a fun thing to use if you really just want to have a party trick.
Very cool.
It does shoot fire as well. These exhaust tips are not the normal shape. Normally see where I made the carbon fiber cutout. That would be the normal shape of the exhaust. I like the round look a little bit better. So I changed that out when I made the whole exhaust. And it does shoot fire out to about here or so.
That's going to be cool to see, especially at night.
Yeah, at night, that's a cool party trick. When you do launch control, if you're just stationary, it will also shoot fire when you take off.
Very cool.
I'll put a camera on the bumper and you can see all the flames come out when you do a launch control that way.
Very cool, very cool. Well, let's get inside of it, can we?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, I'll meet you in there. So to open a McLaren, you've got to get down here. Look at this. He's got to show us how to do it.
There is no button, there's no handle.
Awesome. So look at that. No wonder Blue Ridge Rider can't figure out how to open the door. All right, well, let's check it out inside.
So once you're in here, we got a bunch more carbon stuff. I've also got a smart mirror up here that is not standard. So I actually have a dash cam and a rear camera that come through here that record all that.
Through the mirror.
Through the mirror.
Nice.
And I can do Google Maps and all kinds of stuff right in there. Like I said, all the interior carbon is all factory. I haven't really done anything in here. But we do have our active panel. And from here is where you can change all of your modes. By default, it starts in, anybody can get in and drive it. 80-year-old grandma can hop in it, start it up, and go. But then when you hit the active button, it enables all this stuff where your handling modes and your powertrain modes between normal, sport, and track. And that adjusts the suspension, the steering, it does all kinds of things when you do that.
So what would be the difference between like sport and track?
Track gets a lot stiffer. It also reduces the amount of traction and stability control. It actually turns off traction control and leaves stability control, but it dials it back a little bit. And then in sport, both those are active and they're a little bit more aggressive, and then normal, they're the most aggressive. It also changes shift times.
So in track, you could literally break the back end out.
Yeah, it'll allow you to break it out a little bit, but in sport it won't, in normal it won't.
Okay, so you couldn't drift it in sport, but you could drift it in track.
Yes.
If you wanted to drift it.
Yeah, and it'll limit you to a point. On this particular model, it won't let you do it a lot. You can manually disable that if you go through this whole weird backward sequence, but I don't recommend doing that because it's there for a reason. These things have so much power.
So I noticed down here, let me show folks on the channel what we're looking at here. So this is your modes button. What does this button do?
So this one's for powertrain and this one's for handling. So those are independent of each other. So like the powertrain, whenever you change modes, that is going to change your shifting and how firm and how quick it shifts. And it does make a substantial difference between all three. On track, it goes down to 60 milliseconds, and sports, I think 90, and normals, I think 120. So it's always very fast, but it's faster, which makes for a smoother drive. You don't want to shift too aggressively when you're light on the throttle, because it'll be jerky.
So I noticed a couple other buttons here. I noticed the active and the infamous launch, we know, but what's the active button do?
So active is what turns this panel on. It's in normal, nothing else going on. Anybody can drive it, fully automatic mode.
Okay.
When you hit active, it makes these settings function.
Then you can change
So
it.
you can turn the arrow on and off. You can turn manual shifting on and off.
So what is tell us about the launch button. What does the launch button do and how do you activate it, man?
So the launch is very easy to do. From a stop, you press the brake, you push the launch button down, you get a little light that tells you it's on. Up here in the cluster, it says that launch mode is turned on or engaged, or however the verbiage is. Then you push the gas all the way to the floor. The RPMs are going to go up. On this car, it's 3,200 RPM. It's normally 2,900 RPM. But it goes to that and just holds it on its own. Holds it right there.
And yours is going higher because you tuned it.
Right.
Okay.
But when you keep your foot on the gas, when you release the brake, it goes. It's full power out of the gate and goes.
So are you in manual shift mode or auto shift mode when that happens?
You can be in either. It's however, so you have to have the active panel on, but as long as the active panel is on, you can do launch mode. You can't do it if it's not on.
If you're in manual, will you hit the rev limiter if you don't shift?
This, you can hit the rev limiter, but if you do it enough times, it will eventually automatically shift if you're in manual. If you're in automatic, it won't let you hit the rev limiter.
It just shifts it for you.
Yeah, so this shifts it, or this red line's at 8,600 RPM. So if you're bouncing it off of it, it will eventually shift, whether you want it to or not. But I mean, you've got to bounce off it for a while before it does it.
So what's your 0 to 60 or 0 to 100?
0 to 60 is about 2.8 seconds.
Wow. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, 0 to 100 happens right around 5 seconds.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, I gotta ask the unfair question nobody wants to hear. Have you raced a Tesla yet?
Not on a street application. On a like drag racing, drag strip. Yes.
So how did you do?
Well, that one wasn't a Plaid. The only thing that would be faster than this is the Plaid.
So you took it.
Yeah, all the other ones.
You put a Tesla down.
Right.
All right. Well, that's good to hear.
And I race.
I mean, I like the Teslas. I love the Plaids, but we got to have a little bit of fun with our gas engines.
I race them, race against them in autocross as well. And the Model 3 performance actually does pretty well, but this is still always faster.
So in autocross, but are they in your category in autocross?
They're in a different class.
Okay, but you can still compare their time.
If I had the same, if I had a 200 tread wear tire or higher, we would actually be in the same class.
Okay, that's interesting. On a Model 3 would be?
A Model 3 Performance.
Okay, very cool. Well, hey, MF Autos, man.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for the tour of your car.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
gonna take it to the